Hello and welcome to the channel Marxbadi. Now we are going to continue our conversation with Professor Edgar Ish for the second round. From here, I would like to whatever you have explained right now is very similar to what is happening here in our country too. The indigenous people, the peasants, the workers, the youths, the students, everyone they are in the feeling like they need to get together so that they can fight out the corporate communal nexus here in this country. And the external debt, what you mentioned, this is also a problem here. But what we are interested in that as we see something is happening in Latin American states that lefts or the central lefts, whatever you mentioned them, nationalist or democratic, these forces are winning elections. But certain changes are happening inside the constitution, in the legal process, and those changes are forcing out those people who want to change something. Even they are not leftist, they are democratic, but still imperialism or capitalism or neoliberal policy. Those policymakers are forcing to change the internal legal system of any country so that whoever is going to do something against their interest, they will just change the legal process and put that person out of the country or in jail. Something happened in Brazil, in Peru. These things are happening. These things we are facing here too. As an intellectual person, how do you see this problem?
First thing, the constitutional and legal changes are very important. But it's more important if we make these changes step
by step. Okay.
To more changes.
Okay.
Yeah. The right wing, the upper classes, always discuss and take measures to use the change. This is incredible. We talked about the summa causae and buen vivir, good living, how they use in the other sense. So this ideological struggle, the political struggle, the economic struggle is permanent. The constitutional changes are not all. Yeah. What happened in Peru? First, they had a government born in the popular sectors. Teacher is his president, but with a weak capacity to union the forces, union the leftists, and to planning that great propositions, that great agenda that make the people move. Yeah? In this condition, and with crazy laws in Peru that makes very easy to take a change of the government legally, they give a coup state. This is a rupture of the democratic in Peru. Yeah. The democratic regime don't exist more. We have now, in reality, a dictatorship. More or less, we have 900 or 1,000 of dead people in the struggles against the government.
Already we have.
Yeah. Okay. So you see people in the streets, in the ways, in the cities, fighting for democracy, fighting against upper classes that don't consider to the people. They never think the people exist. Yeah? And the people is a struggle. the conditions made the different forces, leftist forces, are in process to be closer. Yeah, and this is good. Of course, this is good. What we can wait in the future? More struggle. There are no conditions for other issue. It's the same in my country, in Ecuador. The solution of the political problems start with the change of the government. Just start. But there are no way that the change of the government. In Peru, the change of this dictatorship is completely urgent. It's completely urgent. Another question in Peru, some new, is the more clear indigenous presence. Yeah? In Peru, they don't speak, in the Andean regions, in the mountains, they don't speak about the indigenous. They consider his economic class. They say they are peasants. Yeah? But they are peasants with ancestral culture, are indigenous at the same time. It's good to see, try to understand. In Latin America, we don't have caste system. No? There are no castes, but there are some similitudes.
Those indigeneity that you are mentioning, this is something
that
they are root at this identity.
The difference is color of the skin, the difference is culture, differences. So you can find an indigenous bourgeois. There are a bourgeois who is indigenous, but he is not accepted for the bourgeois, traditional bourgeois. Yeah, it's different because it's indigenous. Yeah, it's something new. They don't accept that. So in Peru, the indigenous communities for a long time were that don't exist, and indigenous there are just in the jungle, in the Amazonic jungle. Today, these people is saying, I am indigenous. And this mark a difference. The self-identification as indigenous isn't strong in Bolivia, isn't strong in Ecuador, but in the middle, in Peru, is transforming right now. It's a new condition.
Let's move to the next one, and I hope it is the final one that we all want to know, that what we got news that people are struggling, people are fighting with all those imperialist, neoliberal dominations, whatever you said. In newspaper, we get to know that people are struggling, but how in your country or in the larger context, in the Latin American context, the left alternative, how feasible, how you propose a left alternative in today's context. That is something I think very important to get support from all the sections of those people. There must be a proposal for a alternative planning, that whatever neoliberal economy is doing, the left wants, and left have some plan, something completely opposed to it. What do you think? What kind of alternative that left should propose to the people so that they can?
In general, in the countries that we name it in this talk, after long years, the people is understanding that the enemy is not just the president, the actual president. There are something behind him. This is the imperialists, the International Monetary Fund and his impositions, yeah, the in some places the American military bases, yeah, and the neoliberalism. Yeah. In the last indigenous and peoples rising in Ecuador, the people said, the problem is neoliberalism. So what we can do? What is the difference in our proposition? Every sector has his own demands, his own positions, his own points of a program. First thing was talk and build one program for all of us. This is a good step. This program is for the electoral struggle, and this program is for the daily struggle in the streets.
These two need to meet,
yeah,
one to another. Okay.
So you have program. So you have the possibility of the union, organizational union. And you have some main ideas to conduce the struggle. This is one side. One problem. Think, we win the elections, and for example, in the mayor is a leftist. The parliamentary person is leftist. And this person don't do what the people expect of them. The problem is really hard, because the people don't ask about the person, ask about the organization and the possibilities of change. So it is necessary to select very well the person and have control.
Someone like something like a person who is going to be a true representative of those people.
Yeah.
That selection you are saying is very important.
The selection and the control. Every day the control. You said I was a minister. Yeah. Perkins,
yes,
you live that. For example, in my case, before they start the progressive government, before the World Bank made a workshop with the ministers, and they say, this is the program of your government. This is what you must to do. When I say, no, and now you must hear what we must do in our country, these people want to finish the meeting.
Okay.
Yeah. Before they start the government. It's an expression. Some people, the bourgeois, made a lot of nets, and some people, in some moment, maybe are trapped for these nets. The control, the political control of the organization is very important. And say to the masses, no? This person is not this person. This person is there for you and us, not for you. So this person must accomplish with us, with all of us. This is very important.
We're interested to know that you explained that there are different realities in different parts of the countries of Latin America, and there are some specific problems to the specific countries, and in general liberal regime is the general problem like that. But what we are interested that how all the sectors of left, the left parties, left-minded people, democratic, pro-democratic people, how they are planning to get in a united way to fight out the problems. Because in some cases we are seeing that the armies are going against the government, they are doing something. Some good people who are in power, they are being put in jail. So I want to know that what is the united action plan that the lefts are planning?
Every country has his own conditions. Every government is different. National, leftist, the same. But all of them has the same enemy. And the same enemy is the American imperialism in the first place. The American imperialism, his imposition with the neoliberal politics, his instruments like the International Monetary Fund or the World Bank, so on. His history of destroy to all rights. So, if you want confront, struggle against this big power that is the American imperialism, you need the unity. With the difference, as always, but with the similitudes and the same decision to make democratic governments in our country and change the neoliberal conditions. The unity has different expressions. One is the unity of the governments. Do you have the CELAC? Do you have the UNASUR? Do you have the other instruments to express this unity in governmental propositions? Yeah, this is one. The other one is the unity of the peoples, and this has other institutionality, the union of the unions of the indigenous, of the teachers, of the students, so on. They put a program common for all of us. So there are two different levels, but the essential is to find how we can destroy the imperialist domination. There are no nationality revolution, there are no leftist revolution, there are no change if this is there. Yeah? And you can find this is the central point. But this point is not just against the imperialist who is in Washington. Is against the imperialism is inside of countries. The political people and the political parties
was serving for them.
Who are linked with the imperialism. This is the most difficult part. The army forces in regular are very linked to the imperialism. The biggest bourgeoisie is linked to the imperialism, and the leftist party, the right parties. Sorry, right parties, and this is I forget the media. The fundamental of the no? So the struggle is against some international policies, but is against these people who is linked with imperialism. The right wing they have some kind of international. They don't use that name, of course.
They will never use it.
But they have meetings, they have accords, statements, and other issues. They are in unity. Against the unity of the right is necessary the unity of the peoples in the country and in the continent.
Last, I should mention that once the Latin American people's struggle was famous for some typical names like Castro himself, Chavez himself. Now these people are no more.
Mm-hmm.
So, how the people's struggle is going to find leaders of their struggle? How new leaders are being emerging of their struggles?
It's very difficult question because always we know the leaders are the consequence of the specific situations of the struggle, and they are taking the place. Some interesting is there are a number of leaders that are part of the parties, political parties, like in Argentina, like in Brazil, like in Venezuela, for example. But there are others that are new leaders with not a long history of the political participation. Ecuador, Peru, Mexico is different. It's different, but you have Chile. Chile, the current president was a leader of the students. The conditions in this new leadership find the possibility to have to win elections is different, but maybe there are some characters, similar characters. First, they took the popular programs, they took the popular demands and the motives of the struggle. Yeah? They took first thing. 30 years of a struggle against neoliberalism. They say this is the same. Second, they are people with conditions of communication with the people. Yeah? They don't explain the things just for the students or intellectuals. They can explain the propositions for general people. This is really good. 3, usually has linked with popular organizations. Sometimes the popular organization said, we have the program, but we don't have the candidate. There is the candidate don't have the organization.
Okay. These two forces must meet together.
Okay. Meet together, yeah. Yes. And the condition of new between quotes, yeah. But the condition of new in electoral moment usually is well. It's well. The people see well the new. So, some people said it's like the white horse in running in a race. Yeah, the white horse is completely clean. After the race is other question, but it starts clean, and the people like this and prefer this horse who is clean another one.
Okay.
Maybe for these motives, for these reasons, the people take this conviction that this is the person who can give this process. Yeah. Maybe
it's like a process that is going on, and it will go on. We need to. This is another struggle that
some people gain the confidence of the people, of the masses, and other appears like the traitor of this confidence. But the confidence, how they take the confidence, maybe is for this linked with the organizations, the program, the capacity for the communication, and the initiatives to do some things new in politics, some things new in the electoral communication, for example. Not the traditional way to do the thing. It's usually it's new, appears new. And this is something like the people like.
Hope. A new hope is there.
I remember in the 80s in Ecuador, we had a very important politician of the right wing, and he speak about a leftist party, yeah, and he said the MPD, this party, is linked the Marxism with populism, and this is something that the people like. Yeah, Marxism and populism, they are contrary. But in some cases, ways of populism can serve to the purpose of the Marxism in some conditions, in some way.
This is another way that is that is maybe
that's the new. That's the new. It's not doing the same all the time. It's find a new way.
I think we can reach to the end what we discussed today, and summary our talk that is we should hope for a new one, a new alternative for the people. আমরা এতক্ষণ যা কথা বললাম, I must end with Bengali so that a summary will be there. আমরা এতক্ষণ যা কথা বললাম তার থেকে তিনটি কথা খুব গুরুত্বপূর্ণ আমার মনে হয়েছে, আপনারা খেয়াল করবেন। একটি কথা প্রফেসর বারবার বলছেন, যে কথাটা হয়তো আমাদের দেশে, আমাদের এখনকার রাজ্যে কেউ কেউ চান ভুলে যেতে, ভুলিয়ে দিতে। উনি বেশ কয়েকবার সেই কথাটি উচ্চারণ করেছেন। আমাদের মনে রাখতে হয়, আমাদেরও মনে রাখতে হবে সেই কথাটা, সেটা হলো ইম্পেরিয়ালিজম, সাম্রাজ্যবাদ। আজকের পৃথিবীতে সাম্রাজ্যবাদ সক্রিয়ভাবে মানুষের অধিকার কেড়ে নিচ্ছে, সেই কথাই আমরা এতক্ষণ শুনলাম। দ্বিতীয়, নয়া উদারবাদের বিরুদ্ধে মানুষ লড়াই করছেন, সব অংশের মানুষ লড়াই করছেন। এরকম নয় যে এই ব্যবস্থা যা লুট করে তা একচেটিয়াভাবে নিজের ক্ষমতাকে জাহির করে চলেছে এবং এর কোনো বিকল্প নেই। সেই বিকল্প লাতিন আমেরিকায় কেমন, সে কথাই অধ্যাপক আমাদের শোনালেন। এবং শেষ যে কথা, যেটা হয়তো গুরুত্বপূর্ণ, যেটা উনি নিউ বলে বলছেন, সেই অবজারভেশন আমাদেরও আছে। সেটা খানিকটা এমন যে লাতিন আমেরিকায় আমরা যা হতে দেখছি, এ কথা ঠিক যে মানুষের কনফিডেন্সকে জয় করে কিছু কিছু মানুষ কিছু কিছু সময় বামপন্থী দলগুলি ভোট জিতছে, ইলেকশনে জয় আসছে, সরকারও হচ্ছে, কিন্তু সরকারে আসা এবং রাষ্ট্র ক্ষমতা দখল করা, এ দুটি আজও এক নয়। এই দূরত্ব, এই দুটি ঘটনার মধ্যে, সরকারে আসা এবং রাষ্ট্র ক্ষমতা দখলের মধ্যে যে দূরত্ব, এটা কিভাবে কমে আসবে সেই নিয়ে ভবিষ্যতের বামপন্থাকে খুঁজতে হবে পথ, এটাই আজকের দিনে মার্ক্সবাদী পথ। আমরা এখানে শেষ করছি। ধন্যবাদ।
Thank you
থ্যাংক
very
ইউ
much.
ভেরি মাচ।
Thank you.